And so a quick synopsis of James Casbolt's deteriorating mental health. I'm saying he did commit suicide on June 21st. He overdosed in his home by himself to kill himself because the something weird happened when he came to America, and he was like married into this billionaire family of Hank Meyer, fast tracked into the army. They had a kid and they stole the kid. As soon as the kid was like gonna survive, they were like pushed him out, and it was all a retaliation for everything that he did. He was the first whistleblower in 2006 saying, I've been abducted by aliens from a small child, involved deeply in satanic ritual abuse, went on to satanically ritually participate in other things, became a Manchurian candidate for the Windsor family. He was a whistleblower for the Windsor family. It was like they were tracking, because within the bloodlines, there's always going to be a traitor to the secrecy of the bloodline as a means to save the positive side of the bloodline. So he was a whistleblower for the Windsor family are satanic. They're adopting Satanism, practicing Satanism. They are not all holy or anyone you should ever look up to. That was his early start. So, he really did live his life. He lived it, and it's going to continue on, and it's going to be weird. I find it interesting. So he came to America. He was like virtually abducted into this family. I promise you, he has a deep loathsome perspective of the Meyer family and what everything they did to him. He would never, ever reconnect with Haley Meyer. He would never get back with her, ever. Something weird happened to him when he was in the States. The father-in-law had a vendetta against him. So he used his daughter as a puppet to bring him into the States, to get him here, to use him to further Manchurian candidate him as he was... Okay, so he was a Manchurian candidate for the Windsor family as he grew up. Within the bloodline, there's going to be a traitor who's going to come against you. At the same time, there's another traitor in America that was like, we're going to bring him here, prop him up. I'm going to use my daughter. She's going to lure him into a relationship, into a marriage. We're going to get him into the country. We're going to have a baby. Once that baby was like survivable, they discarded him and put him out because he was starting to find out exactly what the hell they were doing. So this was his life. This was not a mistake. It was like he had to come and see and conquer in the way that he did, even though, just like in the Bible, it says the devil is going to overcome all the saints. So he came, he saw, he did the thing, he left. When he went back to the UK, he was not the same person. Everyone can say he was not the same person. Maybe jail changed him, maybe blah, 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 blah. But he became like a donor to science. He was like, I'm going to donate my body to science, because just like in the movie Get Out, Hank Meyer took him, abducted him, became a walk-in spirit into his body. So now the James Casbolt you saw in the UK is now James Casbolt operating with the person he hates the most inside of his body. So it was a constant war. And he was trying so hard to obviously overcome it. In the world, in the Bible, it says the devil is going to overcome the saints, because this is not our world. It's no wonder why he didn't reconnect with people that he loved so much. He always talked about how much he loved Yan Rodrigo, but he never connected with Yan Rodrigo. Why? But he connected with Bob Osborne, the dude who bought the Crowley house, steeped in hedonism. Yeah, he friended that dude real quick, real easily. Who was that? That was not James Casbolt. That's not his character. but his character was two opposing forces who hate each other existing in the same body when he came back to the UK. That's why he didn't reconnect with Yan. That's why God told me to cancel my trip to Cornwall. Because my dog was killed, it was a ritualistic kind of initiation that I was not aligned with. I do not adopt the values of Luciferianism. My dog didn't have to die for your fucking religion. Went out there because I do not consent to your religion. That was me not consenting. Later on, God said it was either the dog or you, because I was going to die in Cornwall. I was going to be killed in Cornwall, it seems. Timeline passed. So, subsequently, he gets into drugs, heavy, and purposefully overdoses on June 21st to kill himself because these people were trying to kill him. They were trying to kill him back in December. All his organs would shut down. He would be like virtually dead, like a zombie. And he, somehow survived that because I believe it's like the devil keeps creating these weird timelines that he thinks is gonna happen. So he needed to stay alive because they needed to get Lauren Pritchard in Cornwall as a means to kill her. You can't kill me, just like you can't kill James Casbolt. His story ended. It will never end. It will never end, actually. But it's no wonder. Why would a man kill himself and there's still no confirmation? I'm saying he killed himself June 21st. There's still no confirmation. Like there was nobody checking up on him. There was nobody interacting with him. It was his own doing. His mental state was so bad that he'd shut out the world. If he died in his apartment that night, nobody would be checking up on him. And it's true because his mental state was very bad because Hank Meyer had walked into his body and he would sabotage every relationship. So if Hank Meyer couldn't sabotage our relationship because I caught on to it, I knew that was Hank Meyer in James Casbolt's body. So I operated as if he couldn't sabotage the relationship, he couldn't sever the tie. So the other option was to lure me out to Cornwall, or try and kill him, and lure me out to Cornwall to kill me. And they killed my dog, which kept me from going to Cornwall because it was going to be me or the dog. And he was dabbling heavy in drugs because he wanted to kill himself, or he didn't see any other way of separating this bodily torment living with his worst enemy inside of his body. And because he donated his body to science so heavily, I was surprised if that body got reanimated. And still, it's 3 days later. Nobody can frickin' confirm if he's dead in his apartment or not. And they probably will. Oh, here he is, propped up as the Antichrist. I've always said James Casbolt will be the Antichrist because it's not him. Because Hank Meyer took over his frickin' body. He's dead. His spirit is now in America. It is not in Cornwall anymore. You people are screwed. Everyone who goes along with this old narrative, you're screwed. But yeah, the mental state was deteriorating because Hank had taken over his life to the point where, like, no one wanted to F with him. The only reason I was willing to F with him was because I understood that Hank had taken over his body. That so long as I could communicate a little bit, I could still talk to him. He could still speak through his body a little bit. That's not enough. And it was never going to become successful. So I feel like in the spirit, he was trying to become successful with his book through Bob Osborne, publishing it, or his music, through the music becoming popular. But it seems as if the world and God has other plans, because God has a greater plan for him, because God has a greater plan for the world. So even though he tried, it seems as if the world and God had different plans. And it became very evident, which is no wonder why he overdosed, suicide on purpose, to fully exit his body. If it is reanimated, that is not him. That is the Antichrist. And he said in previous testimony, people will listen to me because of the way I look and the way I sound. At the end of the day, when I was like, after the death of the dog, even though I knew Hank was in his body, he was like, why do you keep talking to me? And I was like, well, honestly, sometimes I get to talk to you, but it's your voice and it's your face still animated that I'm like, it's somehow comforting enough to the point where I can eat food, because I have a bit of anorexia. I have to force myself to eat food in order to stay alive, because if not, I would fall to a very dark place. I was in a dark place. I'm so sick of eating food to stay alive. It's like I force feed myself like every day. I don't want to. I am actually anorexic, but I do have the wisdom to like bring nutrients into my body. I have to force feed myself on a daily basis. So I was like, it's like the littlest bit I have left. But on June 21st, he overdosed. He died in his apartment. That body might be reanimated, and it's sad that nobody can confirm it, which is exactly why a person would commit suicide, because there was no one around him. And I'm not saying they should, because his mental state had fallen to such a horrible point that, like, yeah, no, he didn't reconnect with anyone. He didn't have any real friends. There was nobody. There's still, to this day, 3 days later, there's still nobody can you go and check to see if he's there? There's still nobody that can check to see if he's there. That's very characteristic of a person who would absolutely commit suicide, and for good reason in this case. So the spirit's out. The spirit's in America now. He always said, we hate the God in America. Well, he's here now. That was Hank speaking. He's here now. So, yeah, no wonder, dude. The fuck? Alright, that's it for now. Check you later.